Hello, I'm Hussein, and let's get started with the highlights today straight away. It's a busy day going ahead, so I'm going to switch and start. The first one is from the Earn Life. This is what happens in the LPR, that's Life Plan Review. Insights and clarity sneak up on you because A, every day you have to measure your effort on dealing with meaningful issues, and B, at week's end you're exposed to smart people discussing those issues. All you have to do is show up and catch the nuggets as they fall from everyone's lips. So LPR is very similar to BPR, Business Plan Review by Alan. I'm forgetting the full name, but he's the CEO at or was the CEO at Ford and Boeing, and he introduced these practices at these companies called Business Plan Review. It's somewhat similar to that. The idea is inspired from that in the book, and the in a nutshell, the idea is that you have questions that you ask yourself, and then you review those questions, and then review the responses to those questions every day or every week, along with every other people. So there is this kind of social accountability as well, and the questions are meaningful as well. And all the questions are about effort. They're not about intention. They're not about outcomes. They're about effort. So the author covers six questions, six example questions that he recommends. But of course, you can add any questions you would like over here. The key thing is that the questions should talk about measuring effort, not intention, not results, not those things, just the effort. So yeah, let's move on. The eye test. Your favorite song is your favorite song because it gave you something you needed when you needed it. The reason you don't respond to similar art similarly isn't because the art has changed. You have changed. Movies do not change, but their viewers do. Roger Ebert once wrote, "Your affections are a moving target." It's those things, it's one of those things, being in the right place at the right time. So art is something like that. Um, Sometimes art impacts us so because we see something at a given time, at a specific time when we may be going through something, or when our emotions may be especially charged, and that is when certain art inspires us so much or impacts us so much. So like the author says here, the highlight says your favorite song is your favorite song because it gave you something you needed. So first of all, it should appeal to you when you needed it. The timing is also important. Um, um, something, when you're not ready to receive it, you may not really appreciate whatever that artwork is. Moving on. Mind for numbers. When you use neural circuits, however, it seems you help build the myelin sheath over them, not to mention making other microscopic changes. Practice appears to strengthen and reinforce connections between different brain regions, creating highways between the brain's control centers and the centers that store knowledge. uh, the author is, in a nutshell, I mean, I think it's straightforward, but the author is talking about practicing, how practicing helps, what changes in the brain chemistry to make practice work. As in, when you practice something, you eventually remember it. It becomes your habit. And what happens in the brain, that's what the author is describing over here. So again, I'll quickly move on. Team topologies. To increase the clarity of purpose and define the boundary of responsibility of teams, choose a fundamental team type and an interaction mode. So the book is about four team types. Streamline, that's like the core team type. Then there is enabling, X as a service, and a platform team, I think. Yeah. And there are interactions between them, collaborative, or no, sorry, X as a service is an interaction mode, I think. Anyway, I think I'm messing this up. But yeah, this highlight is just saying that, that if you want to provide a clarity of purpose, be very intentional about the kind of the kind of team you're defining, the type of the team, and the team topologies gives that framework, the four team types and the interaction modes. Pick one of those, be very intentional about it, that okay, I'm going to pick a platform team over here, and it will work as it'll use the interaction mode X as a service. So you're being very, very intentional, and with that you're defining the boundary of responsibility of teams, because now you're saying that okay, this team will work only with the mode of X as a service. So that defines the responsibility and the boundary of the team. Uh, I think like going explaining more would require actually going in depth in the book. So not really the time for that. So let's move on. Kill it with fire. Just as humans are terrible judges of probability, we are also terrible judges of time. What feels like ages might only be a few days. By marking time, we can realign our emotional perception of how things are going. Find some way to record what you worked on and when, so that the team can easily go back and get a full picture of how far they have come. I don't really remember the context over here. It's clear, what the author means by marking time over here. So when you're progressing in your tasks, and when you're making some improvements, mark them that, okay, this, okay, in this time we have covered so much ground, in so this book is about modernization of software, right? So there might be some measure of, okay, how far along have you come in that the refactoring efforts or the modernization efforts. So mark them, and what may seem like a very very large task, once you start marking time along the way, you can start identifying that these were the changes that happened. And moreover, you can also celebrate small wins along the way, which is very very important for the team to keep going. And yeah, I guess, I mean, that's what the highlight tells me. I'm forgetting the context over here. I'll move on. Getting things done. It never hurts to ask the why question. Almost anything you're currently doing can be enhanced and even galvanized by more scrutiny at this top level of focus. I think again this is very straightforward. Just asking why, being very intentional about why you're doing anything. So yeah, I think it's straightforward. And move on. Measure what matters. The hairier the mission, the more important your OKRs. So the author is making a point that, sometimes it's very difficult to define OKRs, break it up into this objectives and key results when the mission is um, kind of like they're using the word hairier over here, but it's kind of describing a mission which is highly complex, very difficult to measure, very difficult to kind of quantify, or even like kind of perceive, how it's going. And it's especially in these cases where OKRs become very important. It's hard, it's difficult, but that's kind of the point. You're doing this hard work in defining your OKRs because it's actually going to make it easy for you to complete the mission. So yeah, it may seem that, okay, like for a very complex mission, for a real world mission, OKRs are going to be very very challenging. They're going to be very complex, and you might just feel, okay, let me just get started, forget OKRs. But that's the anti pattern. That's exactly when OKRs become more important. Moving on. The six types of working genius. The genius of wonder involves the ability to ponder and speculate and question the state of things, asking the questions that provoke answers and action. People with this genius are naturally inclined to do these things. This is the first genius in the list of six geniuses. The others are, after wonder, we have invention, then we have discernment, galvanizing, enablement, and tenacity. These six geniuses, and this highlight is just talking about what is genius of wonder. And like the author says, it's really, it involves the ability to ponder and speculate. Like look into the world and see, okay, oh, this can be changed, or this can be done this can be changed for the better, or this is broken, this needs to be fixed. It's really that, it's like, even before identifying the problem, it's like, I would like the world to look in this. I would love to. I'm sorry, I'm breaking up the sentence. The wanderer, somebody who has this genius, would look into the world and say that, okay, this is what the world should look like, and they ask those questions, and like that's when that's where innovation comes springs from. And of course, there is the invention which actually kind of sets up the stage for implementing the idea, implementing the problem. But yeah, this is the first step in the in any task. Poke the box. We have built the largest economic engine in history. All the tools are here, cheaper than ever before. The market is waiting, the capital is waiting, the factories are waiting, and yes, even the stores are waiting. They're waiting for someone to say go. This whole book is about just getting started, right? So like this is kind of like a summary of, that what's stopping you. Just go ahead. People are just waiting for something to come up, somebody to just say go. Moving on. The earned life. Parental influence, obligation, mental block, peer pressure, not enough time, inertial devotion to the status quo. These are the perennial barriers that freeze us in place and leave us yearning for a new path, yet unable to take the first step on that path. But these barriers are just temporary obstructions that can be pushed aside so we can move on. The author talks a lot about earned life over here. The kind of things that we want to do, the kind of things that we yearn to do, like the word he uses over here, yearning. But so many things that seem to stop us in the place. But these are, like, the author makes a point, and of course the author elaborates a lot more in this chapter, that these are just temporary barriers, and we identify them, we understand them, and then in doing so we can move ahead from them. So it's really that. Yeah, moving on. This is just highlights, which means we are at the end of our highlights today. I know that today was a quick one. Well, not that quick, still 11 minutes. But yeah, I think it's a good time to call it a day. Have a good day.